You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a house fire early Saturday morning required multiple agencies to work together to contain the flames. We'll have those details.
Also, on the anniversary of the Capitol Hill riots, the Electoral College is set to vote in President-elect Trump. We'll have the latest from Washington.
And we've got slick spots across the area, and it is dangerously cold out there. We'll have a look at that forecast and road conditions coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, January the 6th. I've been saying the 5th all morning long. It wasn't until about 30 minutes ago that we realized that wasn't right. But you folks at home didn't care, so that's all right. It is January the 6th, though. Happy Monday. It is cold. It is slick. It is closed. Most of the area closed. And you can see those scrolling on the bottom of your screen on our website. Road conditions pretty darn hazardous in some locations.
Very icy on my way here. I was skidding a little bit on my way here. So
I was doing all right, but we do have some areas that the roads are very dangerous. We had a number of crashes yesterday as well. In fact, I think we have some video from our very own Shannon Becker that he took yesterday in and around the Joplin area. You can see here, this is, okay, so I know this is HH Fur Road coming out of CJ heading toward Carterville, and that's the Center Creek Bridge, and you can see a number of cars off the road there. Plow crews are out. The problem is, too, if you see yesterday, of course, we had rain in our southern counties. That resulted in some not flooding, flash freezing once the temperatures began to drop, and that's what led to a number of crashes out there. So it's, again, just a rough situation all in all across the area this morning.
yeah, definitely something to be careful of.
And we are going to take a live look at current road conditions across the area. We're going to start, though, with some cameras. There's only so many, but we have a few. We're going to take a look in downtown Pittsburgh. This is at, the camera is at 4th and Broadway. It is looking back roughly to the southeast. And as you can see, Broadway looks okay. There's still some snow patches, especially into the parking zones. The biggest concern, especially in the southern half of our area, is black ice. Now, this may very well be liquid, thanks to the crews doing the tough job that they've got out there, especially in the bitterly cold temperatures. But some of it could be black ice, which is why, like this gentleman here, you need to slow down if you're traveling. Now, some schools didn't have class today just because. Joplin, for example, they don't go back until tomorrow from the holiday break. Others did, and they're probably closed. And you're seeing those closings scrolling on the bottom of your screen. Again, you can find them on our website. But this is why. So if you don't have to be out, don't. Some of you probably getting some emergency alerts in the state of Kansas. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. MoDOT cameras around the city on I-44. So this is at Main Street, exit 6 looking east. Again, looks okay, but definitely some slick spots out there still. You want to watch out. I-44 at exit 4, so this is actually pointed down 43 looking south. Still some snow patches here and there, especially in these turn lanes and on the shoulders. And then we'll head over to the KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue. Now this has been, it kind of blares out all NC and NE Kansas roads are closed. Just travel, find lodging. That's what we're going to talk about. We still have some patchy snow, slick spots on the shoulders. 69 is looking better, but still reporting some potential slick spots. Take a look. For those of you who maybe weren't with us on the KOAM side, I did not make this map. This is how it came. But I just want to tell you that this blue is supposed to represent clear. The problem is, for some reason, the data it receives, it doesn't have a code for closed. And so since it doesn't know what closed is, it goes back to the blue for clear. But this is all closed. We're talking, it's improved around the KCK area, but east, I-70, 35, 135, a good chunk coming out of Wichita all the way up to the Nebraska state line. Those are closed roads, and that's why you're receiving those emergency alerts on your phone. They're coming from the state of Kansas saying, really, especially in the eastern half of the state, unless it's an emergency, don't be out on the road. Stay home. These are major highways that are all closed. That means the back roads, rural roads, and city roads are probably going to be worse. In our area, the blue, is actually representative of clear. We are seeing some improvements. We have the pink here. This is partially covered and covered in our northern portions of southeast Kansas, partially covered in the south. But again, we've been seeing gradual improvements as crews do their job. On the Missouri side, the big view, nothing closed, but most of the state listing the highways and major roadways as covered. On the local level, that does include the MoDOT-controlled highways within the Joplin metro area, I-49 north out of Joplin to Nevada, 54, 126, 160, I-44 from the state line through at least Springfield is clear, and we have partly covered roadways down south of I-44. Cold weather advisories for everybody through at least 11 a.m. today. This replaces wind chill watches, advisories, and warnings. So we have dangerously cold wind chills out there. Quick look at the future track. Partly cloudy today. Gusty north winds and temperatures not really moving much as we head into the afternoon. Quick look at temperatures. We're going to talk about that here. We've got temperatures. It's 8 in Yates Center and Iola, and these aren't wind chills. These are the current temperatures. The rest of us in the low to mid-teens. Once you get into the wind chill, a lot of us 0 to 5 above, but our northwestern counties anywhere from 0 to almost 10 below 0 with those wind chills this morning. Highs today, upper teens, low 20s. Wind chills hanging out around 0 because those north winds will be gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour. Winds ease up tonight. Temperatures do not improve for a while. We'll go over all of that with you here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. If there are any closures due to inclement weather from this weekend, we'll have a list as they're submitted on our website and our KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL on your phone or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. You'll find closures for schools, government entities, and churches. Again, get the latest list at KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, firefighters were called to a house early Saturday morning around 1:30 a.m. Jasper, Missouri first responders, along with Carthage, Lamar, Tri-Cities, and the Golden City, were called to the resident's home at 307 North Main. The occupants of the home were able to get out safely. Firefighters wasted no time getting to work to extinguish the flames. The crews were dismissed after 75 minutes. There were no injuries to firefighters, and the Red Cross is assisting the displaced residents. MoDOT and other departments of transportation want to remind drivers that there are priorities set for which roads are cleared first. They understand each road is a priority to drivers, but they say there aren't enough workers or trucks to clear all highways immediately. MoDOT says the most efficient job is the one that will impact the most drivers, which sets the priority. For information on your local city or county streets, residents should contact your local government. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Winter Storm Blair has passed through our area. We'll have the details on where it's heading next. And later, ice sculptors in Minnesota are taking advantage of the cold to work on their creations. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Elon Musk is expanding his footprint. The billionaire entrepreneur will provide its Starlink Wi-Fi service to United Airlines. United will begin testing Starlink next month, and its first commercial flight with the service will launch this spring. Starlink will eventually be available on every United flight. Once Starlink is up and running, United's Mileage Plus members will have free access to Starlink. Congress will convene to certify the 2024 election results later today. It will be the first time the certification will take place since rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol in 2021 to try to prevent the electoral process from taking place. Yesterday, President Biden reflected on the events of January 6th. He said what happened 4 years ago should never happen again. The president has promised a smooth transition to the next Trump administration and said he believes the transition is going smoothly. Depending on where you live, this might be a good day to stay home with hot cocoa and your TV. A large and powerful winter storm is pushing from the central of the U.S. to the East Coast. Amy Keeley reports on the snow, ice, and even thunder sleet.
I've been doing snow removal for 15 years, and this is the heaviest storm I've seen.
A massive winter storm has tens of millions of Americans under winter weather alerts today.
Stuck here in a motel.
NOAA's Weather Prediction Center says some areas could end up with their heaviest snowfalls in more than a decade.
I can't recall the snow being
this bad at all.
I've lived here pretty much all my life, off and on, but no, I don't remember anything like this in a minute.
Forecasters say the storm is moving out of the central U.S. today. It's clobbering much of the Ohio River Valley on its way to the East Coast.
Please stay off the roads. Give our plow teams plenty of room to work during and after the snowfall.
Snow and blizzard conditions aren't the only issues in some areas. Forecasters say many states farther south face powerful wind and bitter cold, and Kentucky saw thunder sleet last night.
Thunder mixed in with freezing rain, just incredible to see that. It just shows you how powerful this storm is.
The National Weather Service says thick ice also could be a problem along the storm's path. That could cause heat outages in cold areas.
This is the type of ice that would weigh down your tree limbs and power lines and cause some problems.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And that's a look at our top national stories. Let's check in with Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the roadways around the area, and you can see they look okay, but there's still slick spots out there and potential for black ice. We're going to have another full look at your forecast right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:15 on this Monday morning, and we are starting with road conditions because if you're heading out, some of you don't have a choice. You got to go to work. We had to go to work. Melissa and I are here. James, Tennyson, Abby, Trevor, we're all here. Daniel's here. We had to make it up here. And some of you don't have a choice either. You got to get to work and you got to know what to expect. Now, some of you might be a little lucky. Maybe your place of business is closed. My wife is lucky. Her place of business is closed today. But not everybody is. Schools are closed in a number of places as well. And those are scrolling on the bottom of your screen. You can also find it on our website and in the KOM News Now app. Now let's talk about those roads. This is downtown Pittsburgh, Broadway. Looking pretty good. Still some snow, especially in the parking areas and right down the middle here and onto the side roads. Remember, side roads are going to be a second priority for just about everybody out there when it comes to plowing. Got to get these main roads ready to go. But you see these little shiny spots. In some cases, that's actually liquid. The salt's been put down. Whatever was there is melted. But in other cases, it could be black ice. And in all honesty, especially in our southern counties where we had a lot of rain yesterday, that's the top concern is the potential for black ice, which means poor Melissa, her phone has been going off all morning. We're going to talk about that in a moment too, because yours probably has as well. But black ice is the biggest concern. You won't see it until you're on it, until you're sliding or in the ditch. So be careful out there this morning, even if it looks good. MoDOT cameras, I-44. This is Main Street exit looking east against slick spots here and there, so watch out. Looking pretty good. This is 43, so this is exit 4 looking south on Highway 43. Still some snow in the center lanes and on the shoulders. And I-44 range line looks pretty good as well. MoDOT camera 20th in range line. It's another one of those little shiny spots. Could be melted, could be black ice. You've got to be careful out there. Head over to the MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Also, it looks pretty clear. We're doing okay, but again, it's the black ice that's a big concern. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue. Looks good. Shoulders, of course, still a little slick out there. 69 itself, like this gentleman, he's driving slow. He's being smart. You see how shiny the road is? A lot of that's melting, but some of it with these temperatures could refreeze and lead to black ice. And then this is why your phone is going off this morning. Is this notice here? All north central and northeast Kansas routes are closed. The state of Kansas has been sending out emergency alerts all morning because all of that is closed. I-70, 35, 135, and every major highway in between up here. I've talked about it. Our map, for reasons I don't know, doesn't understand closed. It doesn't have a color for it in the database, but this is all closed. Okay, and if these are the major highways that are closed, and if they're closed, you know the cities are going to be worse. That's why you're receiving those alerts. That's the state of Kansas telling folks, especially into north central and northeast Kansas, if you don't have to drive, don't. It's too dangerous. Heading back to our area, our part of southeast Kansas, if I can get this map to go, perfect. We still have, especially in the northern half of our area, some covered roadways out there. Now in our area, these blues actually do represent clear, which is good. Then we have partially covered roadways in the southern half. Again, slowly seeing improvements as KDOT crews get out there and do their best. But again, Kansas got hit especially hard with this, so they are very busy across the state. Same in Missouri. Most of Missouri still listed as covered on the local level. I-49 from Joplin to Nevada is still listed as covered. So is 54, 126, 160. So basically, north of I-44, roadway still listed as covered. South, they're listed as partly covered. I-44, though, and we showed you some of those cameras through at least Springfield, listed as clear, but slick spots still very possible. Cold weather advisories for everybody through at least 11 a.m. today. This replaces wind chill warnings and wind chill advisories. National Weather Service came up with something new. That's what it is, and it means dangerously cold air. Future track, I'm only going to show you today because really over the next 2 or 3 days, there's nothing going on. All right, just some clouds and the cold air, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but you can see, well, those partly cloudy skies and very cold temperatures tonight as we head into Tuesday. Temperatures right now already very cold. Feel it is 8. Sorry, it's 8 in Yates Center and Iola. The rest of us low to mid-teens. The wind chills, northwestern counties anywhere from 0 to 10 below is what it feels like. Outside of that, anywhere from 0 to 10 above is where those wind chills are, hence the cold weather advisory. Partly cloudy skies, again, temperatures just holding in the teens through the morning. Not much movement. Our highs today, upper teens, low 20s, but wind chills will be close to 0 most of the day with north winds gusting to 25. Winds ease up tonight, which is good because it'll be about 10. And then we'll go into the 20s and teens again Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday, we start to warm up. Keeping an eye on the possibility of some flurries Friday. Most of the data says it's going to be a light flurry thing, but some suggest it could be more snow, so we'll keep a close eye on it for you. Warming up into the weekend and next week, back into the upper 30s and low 40s. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, with a string of colder days, ice sculptures around Minnesota are finally catching a break.
Jason Rontala shows us how they're making the most of it.
It's finally starting to look a little like winter here in Delano. That's thanks, in part, not only to these snow machines, but also our dramatic drop in temperatures.
We're just trying to fix the ice palace and get everything recovered.
Dylan Hinson with the Ice Palace says temperatures of 40 and above, combined with rain, made for a devastating ice-killing combination.
We had a couple walls collapse.
The warm weather comes after last year's frustrating season, when the palace was open for a grand total of 4 days. Ice makers say 25 degrees and below is good for making ice. That's where we're at Thursday afternoon here in Delano. 10 degrees and below, well, that's even better.
When we get into those single digits, we get immense growth.
And lucky for people like Dylan, we should get to those single digits and even colder over the next week, in time for opening day next Saturday, January 11th.
And it's just going to get bigger and bigger even after we open.
If you can't wait until next week, Ice Castles at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds opens this Friday night, featuring ice castles, tunnels, and caverns. Organizers say they, too, are looking to make up for last year's lack of winter.
I know winter can be kind of depressing for people, and that's why we're here. We're just excited to share something happy and magical for people. We're excited to share this with you guys.
That's impressive.
It is.
It's a little too cold for me to go out and do that kind of thing, but there are those folks, this is their thing.
That looks fun. I think I'd want to go.
Well, I mean, if I'm bundled up enough, I suppose I could possibly go. But certainly very, very cool what they're doing up there.
Very true. Coming up, multiple organizations received a donation to help feed those affected by food insecurities.
And it doesn't quite look like Minnesota out there, but it certainly feels like Minnesota out there. We'll have another look at your forecast and current road conditions when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Melissa Alexis. If there are any closures due to the inclement weather from this weekend, we'll have a list as they're submitted on our website and on our KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL in your phone or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. You'll find closures for schools, government entities, and churches. Again, get the latest list at KOAMnewsnow.com. Some 4 states charities gathered at Suzanne's Natural Foods in Joplin to be presented with the checks of over $5,000 Saturday to feed the hungry. The 4 charities participated in the Empty Bowl, a fundraiser in which residents can buy clay bowls by 35 regional artists. The money raised goes to charities that help feed the hungry.
Empty Bowls is reminiscent of the 1930s soup kitchens, and kind of the play on that is somewhere out there someone has an empty bowl with no food in it. So Empty Bowls was created from an art department, a couple of teachers, and they had their students create pottery bowls, and it's just kind of grown across the nation.
The charities that received the funds included Water Garden, Hope Kitchen, Mission Joplin, and We Care of the 4 states. Weatherizing your home in winter conditions can help improve your energy efficiency. Taking appropriate measures to ensure your home is ready for extreme temperatures can be the difference between a cozy winter or a stressful one. We spoke with experts to learn what you can do to make sure you're prepared.
A home that's been weatherized, it can save 35% on fuel usage over the course of a year. And some of these are really simple things, like going down to the basement, check your furnace filter. Has it been changed all winter? If not, do it now, because if you don't, your furnace is going to be working a lot harder to keep up with that air. Working harder means it's going to not be as energy efficient.
Natural gas meter. Some of the other tips from Rose were to make sure your natural gas meter is clear from ice and debris, and assuring that your utility ventilation systems are free from blockages as well. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we'll take a look at road conditions real quick this morning. First off, looks great outside. We're clear skies for now. Will eventually go partly cloudy. We still have some covered roadways and partly covered roadways across the region. Broadway, downtown Pittsburgh, still some snow down the center lines and into the parking spaces. Side roads still have some snow on them. And you've got to watch out for that possibility of black ice out there as well. Drive slow, like that person there is, because it can still catch you off guard. Black ice is the biggest concern, especially our southern counties that got that rain. And we had that flash freezing that took place when the temperatures plummeted back behind the system. You can't see it in most cases. You won't know it's there until you're sliding into the ditch or slipping and sliding on the road. So just be careful out there this morning. MoDOT cameras around the metro on the highways. We are looking east from Main Street on I-44. Traffic moving slow here, which is good. Traffic also moving slowly. This is Highway 43. Looking down to the south at I-44 exit 4. The Range Line exit, again, we're looking okay. And this is 249 and I-44, that interchange there. Looking good, but again, remember the overpasses, on-ramps, bridges can still have slick spots out there. KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue. Roads look okay. Shoulders, of course, still some slick spots, but there can still be slick spots on the road itself. So like this person, again, drive a little slower. Okay, if you don't have to go outside, don't, because this is the other issue. Probably been receiving these alerts. All north central and northeast Kansas routes are closed. Again, this map does not have a key for closed. It doesn't understand it for some reason. I didn't make it, okay? But where it's showing clear here, this is actually all closed. This is I-70, I-35, 135. Most of this here is shut down. And if those major roads are closed, that means that local roads are going to be even worse. Here in our area, the blue actually is representative of clear. You're seeing improvements out here. Still covered roadways in the northern portions of our area into southeast Kansas, and partially covered still reported in the southern half. On the Missouri side, the Broadview, nothing closed, but covered. That's what that pink is. That's virtually everywhere out there. As we get a little closer to home, though, starting to see more improvements, okay? We had covered for nearly everything north of I-44. Some improvements. Starting to see some around the Joplin Metro on the MoDOT roads here, but still covered in a lot of those. I-44 clear from the state line to Springfield. We got partially covered south of I-44, and 49 from Joplin to Nevada still listed as covered. Cold weather advisory for everybody through 11. Again, this replaces wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings. This is for dangerously cold wind chills today. Future track, partly cloudy skies, otherwise dry and cold out there. Gusty north winds as we head through the afternoon as well, and temperatures not moving too terribly much. So quick look at those temperatures now. We are sitting very cold. It is 8 in Iola, 9 in Yates Center, as well as Independence. The rest of us low to mid-teens. These are the temperatures. The wind chills upwards of 10 below zero into parts of southeast Kansas. The rest of us roughly in the 0 to 5 above range. So it's very, very cold. Wind chills will be close to zero most of today. Temperatures upper teens, low 20s. Those partly cloudy skies, north winds gusting to 25 miles an hour. We'll have we'll have another look at road conditions and, of course, what we're expecting and possibility of more wintry weather this week here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a Massachusetts man is working hard to solve one of the ocean's mysteries. In Consumer Watch this morning, Microsoft is expected to spend big money on artificial intelligence this year. The company said it's on track to invest approximately $80 billion to build out data centers. They'll be used to train AI models and deploy AI and cloud-based applications worldwide. In a blog post this week, Microsoft said more than half of that $80 billion investment will be made in the United States. And it called on the incoming Trump administration and Congress to expand efforts to support the advancement of AI. Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to affected customers to settle a privacy class action lawsuit over its virtual assistant, Siri. The preliminary settlement, which must be approved by a judge, would end a 5-year legal battle over the issue. The suit claimed Siri can be accidentally activated and then record parts of people's conversations without their consent. Plaintiffs also claim Apple violated users' privacy by forwarding those recordings to third parties. President Biden is planning to ban some offshore drilling in a way President-elect Trump would struggle to undo after he's inaugurated. According to a White House source, Biden is expected to permanently ban future offshore oil and gas development in parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The law gives presidents broad authority to withdraw federal waters from future oil and gas leasing and development. However, it doesn't give presidents explicit authority to revoke the action and put federal waters back into development. It's been almost 1 year since the door plug from Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 blew off mid-flight and landed in the backyard of a Portland, Oregon teacher. 2 days later, that teacher, Bob Sawyer, found the plug mostly intact. Emily Gersh spoke with Sawyer, who is now retired, as he reflected about this unusual discovery.
So did you become instantly the most popular teacher after this happened?
Well, I don't know about most popular teacher, but I had a lot of notoriety for a while.
Bob Sauer remembers the day well. On January 5th, 2024, the door plug from Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 blew out of the plane and landed in his backyard. He didn't find it until 2 days later. Yeah, at the time, you said that a friend had told you to check your backyard and you didn't believe them. And then you checked the next day and lo and behold, there it was.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise.
After collecting the door plug, NTSB investigators scoured the area for 4 missing bolts that should have been attached to the door plug on the Boeing 737 MAX 9. During their investigation, they determined the bolts had never been installed. Since then, Boeing says it has taken steps to improve safety through more training, inspections, audits, and documentation. But Sauer says the best part of the incident was the investigators coming to his class to talk to students about the investigation, a real-life lesson in physics. Do you think that is probably the most memorable physics lesson your students ever got?
Well, I've had some other pretty impressive ones too, but this one, with the participation of so many other entities, it's probably the biggest one.
Sauer retired from teaching last June and said while the incident was frightening at the time, it left a lasting impression. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:42 on this Monday morning. Right before we came on, the static electricity in this room, the dryness in this room, I set this down, I picked it up, and something over there just zapped it. But wow, it zapped. It zapped hard. All right, let's take a look. We're going to get the road conditions, and then we're going to talk about this cold weather, and we're going to talk about the weekend as well. Clear skies for now. Will eventually start to go partly cloudy across parts of the area. Roads, Broadway in downtown Pittsburgh. Still some coverage, of course, in the parking areas down the center strip. But you also have to watch out for what could be potential black ice out there as well this morning. And that's just about anywhere. That's one of the bigger concerns we have right now is with black ice, with the extremely cold temperatures, the flash freezing that took place in some areas yesterday. You won't even see it in most cases until you are either in the ditch or spinning on the road or sliding on the road. So slow down out there this morning. Even if it looks clear, you still got to be careful. Still got some coverage, of course, on the side roads. Those will be a secondary concern to just about everyone else. MoDOT cameras around the metro area along I-44. So this is at the Main Street exit, looking back to the east. Traffic moving slowly. Some of this is a work zone, and that's good to slow down regardless, but still, you want to be cautious out there. I-44, this is actually, the camera's pointed down Highway 43 to the south. Still some snow down the center lines, of course, into the shoulder. On-ramps are going to be a little slick in spots. Do be careful. MoDOT camera at I-44 range line, looking back to the east. Again, it looks pretty clear, but you want to watch out again for that potential for black ice. And then the MoDOT camera at I-44 and 249. Looks good, but see the bridges and stuff, they ice before anything else, so you still want to be careful out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin looks pretty good as well. Crews are doing a fantastic job. They got a lot to do. They're doing a great job, but some of it can refreeze, whatever they might melt or clear off. So that's why you've got to watch out for that black ice potential. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line looking pretty clear again here as well, but you want to watch out, especially at the intersections and in those little right turn islands for the potential for some slick spots, black ice. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue, still some patchy snow, slick spots on the shoulders. The main highway portion looks pretty clear, but like I said 100 times already, black ice is the biggest concern at this point. All of this is closed. As I mentioned earlier, this map for some reason does not have an interpretation for closed, so it replaces it with clear. Those roads are not clear. That's why you're getting emergency alerts on your phone from Kansas saying don't drive unless you have to. All of the north central and northeastern major highways and roadways are closed this morning. In our area, the blue actually indicating clear, which is good. We're seeing improvement slowly but surely. We got some still covered roadways reported in the northern portions of southeast Kansas, partially covered in the southern portions, and again, gradually seeing improvements on roadways out there. Missouri, nothing listed as closed here, but most of the state still covered. Improvements in our area. I-44 from the state line to Springfield is listed as clear. I-49, though, from Joplin to Nevada is still listed as covered. So is 160 and 54 and stretches of 96 as well heading through Carthage. So do keep that in mind. But again, still seeing some gradual improvements out there. And in the south of I-44, still some partly covered roadways. So do be careful, especially if you're traveling on any back roads. If you don't have to travel, don't. There are a lot of closings down there at the bottom of your screen. So a lot of reasons to not travel today. Cold weather advisory, the entire area. Most of these run through about 11 o'clock this morning. And again, this replaces wind chill warnings and wind chill advisories. So this is for dangerously cold wind chills. Not spending a lot on the future track just through today. Partly cloudy skies out there and gusty north winds we're going to have to contend with. That'll keep our wind chills down pretty low. The winds will ease up overnight, but we're still going to be very cold as we head into Tuesday morning. Temperatures right now still very cold. 8 in Iowa. Keep in mind, these are the temperatures, not the wind chills. 8 in Iowa, 9 Yates Center and Independence. The rest of us, for the most part, into the low to mid-teens. But then those wind chills, you head off to the northwest, upwards of almost 10 degrees below zero is what it feels like. The rest of us, for the most part, feels like it's about 0 to 5 degrees above. And it's going to be like that most of today. Partly cloudy skies. Temperatures do not move much out there. Hanging out in the teens through the morning with those gusty winds. North winds again gusting to 25. Highs, upper teens, low 20s, but it's going to feel much colder than that. Still cold tomorrow and Wednesday and into Thursday morning. A little warmer. Flurries possible Friday. Some data suggest it may be another bigger snow event, but some suggest it won't. We're going to keep a close eye on it for you. Let's just keep Friday in the back of our minds as a possible winter day, but otherwise cold, flurries, warming up into the weekend, upper 30s, low 40s next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A trip to a Massachusetts park for some fun on the water ended with the discovery of messages in a bottle.
A man who found the letters is now on a quest to find the rightful owners. Mike Sullivan has the story.
The ocean can be a mystery, an abyss of the unknown. Occasionally, those enigmas come ashore colliding with our daily lives.
Ken, it's been 5 years and there's not a day that goes by that I do not think of you.
Doug Turnbull is in possession of such an oceanic conundrum.
This is her grandson, Jordan. We've got one from your Tootsie Roll.
He is reading from messages found in a bottle that washed up near his Beverly home.
I went out to go wing foiling in the ocean.
When the wind died out, he was forced to swim to a beach at Lynch Park.
When I was schlepping my stuff out of the water, found this.
Inside was a collection of letters penned by various family members. They appear to be written to a man named Ken, also known as
Dear Boppy, lately I have been missing you more and thinking about you.
Some of this is photo and some of it's almost art.
Yeah, so I think that this was, a drawing from one of his grandsons, Jordan or Jacob.
The writings talk about intimate moments.
Remember the time we blew bubbles?
Often Ken is spoken of as though he passed away.
I assume that this is the guy, that this is Ken.
It leads Doug to believe this may have been an anniversary send-off by those who loved him.
Your Tootsie Roll?
Doug posted the find on social media. Quickly, the internet sleuths took over.
Somebody was searching obituaries and found someone who seemed to maybe fit the bill in North Carolina.
Although, while talking with us and reading a bit more,
oops,
Doug may have his doubts on the lead.
I'd love to find the people who sent it because it's sort of like an interesting glimmer into somebody else's life.
And an answer to the mystery on the shore.
Certainly fascinating story.
Wow, that's interesting.
Talk about finding something unique. Hopefully you can find those folks who maybe sent that off and for
Hopefully
their
they find
loved
them.
one.
Absolutely.
Well, we don't encourage you to go looking for anything today other than warmth in your own home, as we've got dangerous road conditions and dangerous wind chills across the area this morning. Let's start with the KDOT map. Again, this map, for some reason, and I'll look into seeing if there's a way to fix it, it doesn't understand closed. And so it's showing this area here as clear. It's not. All of this is closed across north central and into parts of northeastern Kansas. Anything that's blue, I-70, 35, 135 here is closed. Now, when we get closer to home, we're actually seeing improvements. So the blue is representative of clear roads, but we still have covered roadways in the northern portions of southeast Kansas, partially covered still in the south. But again, even since earlier, improvements continuing to be reported. For Missouri, nothing's showing up as closed on the broad view, but a lot of the states still listed as covered. In our area, north of I-44, still covered on 49 from Joplin to Nevada, parts of 96, partially covered down south. I-44 clear from the state line to Springfield. We'll have one more look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. If there are any closures due to inclement weather from this weekend, we'll have a list. They're submitted on our website and our KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL on your phone, or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. Get the latest list at koamnewsnow.com. MoDOT and other departments of transportation want to remind drivers that there are priorities set for which roads are cleared first. MoDOT says the most efficient job is one that will impact the most drivers, which sets the priority. For information on your local, city, or county streets, residents should contact your local government. 4 state charities gathered at Suzanne's Natural Foods in Joplin to be presented with checks of over $5,000 Saturday to feed the hungry. The charities participated in the Empty Bowl fundraiser, in which residents can buy clay bowls made by 35 regional artists. The money raised goes to the charities that help feed the hungry.
Dangerously cold temperatures and wind chills today, and also a number of slick spots on area roadways, so slow down if you have to travel. If you don't, it's best to stay inside. Of course, as we mentioned, closings on your screen, on our website, and in our app. Today, upper teens, low 20s for our highs, partly cloudy skies, those north winds gusting to 25. That keeps our wind chills around 0 to maybe 5 above today. Into the evening we go, partly cloudy, teens. Eventually the winds ease up a bit, but still wind chills around 0 as our temperatures drop down to 10 with partly cloudy skies. We remain cold tomorrow into Wednesday and Thursday morning. A little warmer Thursday, and then maybe some some flurries on Friday. I get some data suggests it might be a little more than flurries, but we'll see how things go between here and there. Warming up to the weekend and the start of next week.
Well, it was the teddy bear toss game between the Providence Bruins and the Hershey Bears. And when home team Bears Michael Sarbosa scored the first goal, the fans threw teddy bears and stuffed animals onto the ice. They collected over 100,000 teddy bears and stuffed animals during the giant teddy bear toss.
This surpasses the club's previous hockey world record of just under 75,000 collected in 2024. All items collected will be donated to charities. Certainly an impressive sight. That's a lot of flying teddy bears.
Those are a ton of teddy bears.
That certainly is. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We're back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.